everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing some fan art of the game Cult of the Lamb. It's a little indie game that came out earlier this month. You've probably seen it because it took off on Twitch. I know because they did some Twitch integration with the game. Basically followers could join and become part of your little cult in the game. Anyway, if you don't know the game, it's you play as cute little animal character, a lamb, and you basically run a cute little cult. You have a management of your cult, little village, and then you also have some roguelike go out and fight sort of things. It's super up my alley. I'm obsessed. I got it day one, and I'm not super good at the fighting part, but I still love it, and I really wanted to do some fan art of it. I'm not super great at drawing cute stylized characters, which is big thing for at least the main character and the followers and everything. So I decided I'll draw the lamb character kind of in my style sense of a animal character. I tried to keep them kind of androgynous, but I also draw women a lot, so probably came out a little more feminine, but that's more of a me thing because I just like drawing girls more. I don't know. It's probably just because it's easier for me in my head. You know, there's all those things. So you gotta practice more, and I'm very secure in my comfort zone. I need to break out. Hopefully, maybe next time. Probably not next time, but I'll be branching out and try to make sure I don't do super same face because I have that issue. But anyway, love the game, love the aesthetic and the colors. There's a lot of black, white, and red imagery, very stark in contrast, so I kind of wanted to do something with that. So I decided this is kind of a mixed media piece. I say kind of, it is. I'm just getting ahead of myself right here. So I started out with watercolor, as you can see. I did all that fun wet on wet for the cloak, and then it dried and it's just muddy and boring. I go back over it, but I was so kind of disappointed because I always forget, it doesn't dry as vibrant as I want. I'm not sure if it's the paper or my watercolors or just how I'm doing it, but a little sad, but I'm able to get more contrast and stuff in there. This is definitely very just first layers, kind of get a baseline down. I loved the piece starting, and I loved the sketch and all this other things, but I will say, just a little spoiler, I'm not a big fan of the finished piece. I feel I don't know, when we get to that point, I'll talk about it, but I feel I just did I did a certain way for the hair, and I feel I ruined it for me. It's still nice, it's a good, composition, I would say, but it lost the spark I had for it. But I kept going, and I thought, you know what? I still want to share it with you guys, so I'm still posting it here, even if I'm not 100% super proud of how it came out. Here's me going back over. I do quite a few layers on the cloak to try to get more of that color back in because like I said, I was so disappointed. Here's me adding more darks. I don't have all my layers because I do quite a few, but I have mostly what I want. Instead of trying to do more wet on wet because I don't know if it's just I'm not super good. I don't do it very often. I know I'm doing a lot of self-deprecating today, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. I'm trying to get through it. Trying to let's move more positive. I do know how to layer wet on dry. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm even doing some kind of blending with the brush. I hope that's probably not great for my brush bristles, but I do a lot of kind of blending out like that, trying to give it kind of a rough texture, but making it kind of blend out less harsh edges, and it gives more of that kind of creepy stained sort of look, and I do like that. And then I go in, there's a lot of details. This is still watercolor here, but I do go over it later with some gouache to try to make sure, not to make sure, but to keep it very opaque and dark. Because I wanted, I wanted some good contrast with this piece. I know, this is sped up over 2 times, 250. I'm not sure how it really works in the program, but it's sped up and you can still tell I took such a slow, special time with that. Even here, because I was I don't want to mess this up. I want to get this to look nice. Oh, let me also say I am using the Mossery mixed media sketchbook again for this one, because I thought I should use it a little more, so I decided to do that, see how it works with more mixed media than just watercolor like I did in the last piece I did with it. Here's me going over more of the eyes. So it's in the game, if you've played it, or even it's in a lot of the promos, is, the lamb doing the cool, like, supernatural, like, cult thing, like, floating above with red eyes and, like, red blood tears coming down their face and being like, wow. And it's really cool. So that's kind of what I based this around because I really liked that imagery. I thought it was really cool. Because it's so fun because the game, it has a lot of, like, cutesy stylized elements, especially, like, the followers, the cute little animals and stuff like that. But it also has, like, not much, these contrasting kind of visuals with the stark red and black and white and, like, occult imagery that's just really cool to me. I love contrasting things like that. And I love cute things. I'm not very good at drawing cute things, but I love cute things. And here's me doing the little crown on the head. It's a lot of base watercolor, I'll say that. I really wanted to get a base because I thought maybe, it will be mostly watercolor, but in the end I do end up going over a lot of it with different sort of things. Oh, you also notice I forgot to film this part. I just 100% forgot to film it, but there is a circle behind their head now. And how I did that, that's just white Prismacolor pencil. And I literally took a jar that I have and I put it, kind of centered it over the head, and then I just traced it and then took away the jar and made it more kind of even and how I wanted to do it. I'm going to go over more of that and make more of a design, but I wanted a base circle because I didn't want to. I'm not sure what they are, but it's like architects or other engineers they use to make circles, like you probably used them in math class. Um, the like has the I really should have looked this up, huh? Now I sound really stupid. But it's the thing where it has a pencil on one side, hinge, and then it's like a point, and you stick the point down, and then you can draw a circle. I have one of those, but I didn't want to do it because it would have been in the middle of their face, and I didn't want to put the sharp thing in there and maybe like mess up the paper. All right, and here, so that's how I did that. I just used a jar, and here I am. I did watercolor, so we're still in the watercolor phase. Just doing the little bloody tears. It's fun. I am personally super squeamish, but I still think like bloody tears and like drawing like cool stuff like that is like awesome. But like if it's a real like a horror movie or anything like anything vaguely actually talked about that's bloody, I'm gone. I fainted. It's a little funny because I love spooky things. Like right now I'm still really into the Magnus archives. No spoilers, I haven't finished it. And I love spooky things, but sometimes you gotta skip through because sometimes they're a little bloody, and I'm just, oof. But I still love drawing these things. They're cool. And here's me going. See, it's just me taking a white Prismacolor pencil and going over. I did it light first because at first I thought maybe I would go over it with like a Posca marker because that's what I did in like my sketch in my sketchbook. And my cat is choosing this time right now to be a little pain. Please do not knock things over on my desk. Oh, you're so cute. In here, there are a lot more like kind of like runes or even like transmutation circles for my fellow Full Metal Alchemist fans in the game, but I didn't want to go too intricate because I knew I probably would make it just look a little silly. But so I just kind of went with a more basic kind of circle with some lines. But I will say, here's me removing said cat. And I will say that I really love the look in the game, but I just went a little more subtle in my picture because I didn't want to take it away from the full blown thing. But this is the part I was really excited about. I knew that I wanted the background to be mostly pencil. I wanted the texture, I wanted the movement. I wanted it to feel like darkness and stuff was moving away from the character with these circles and lines of like the power they're showing. I know I wanted this, so I was really excited. I just did the base color of the watercolor on the back because, I still want it to be dark, so I didn't want white paper showing through. But I knew that for the most part, it was going to be pencil. And I have some trouble because I wanted it like radiating from the center of from their face, the center of the circle. And it's fine like in the top corners, but I have some trouble when it gets like to the sides. Even like the white lines that I do. I know they're not perfect, but what needs to be perfect? This is for fun. This is what it's fan art. I'm doing it because I like the game. I like the aesthetics. Things don't have to be perfect. Especially I've never been good at drawing shapes well. My geometry teacher did not like me. You'd think, "Oh, you're an artist. You should be good at geometry." No. No, it was like the one math I was not good at. And my geometry teacher was sure to tell my mother that, like, "Oh yeah, she's just not good at it." And I was like, "Oh, thanks. Thanks. Need you to say that to my mother in front of me." Um anyway, high school side. Here's me going through. I do like, as you tell, I didn't go like all the way around. I just kind of pick and chose because I was like, I don't know. I wanted to turn the paper, but I was like, I don't want to do that for the video, so I'm like trying to angle my arm so not to one smear the pencil that I've already done because Prismacolors are fairly soft. And but also I didn't want to like move the paper or just ruin it or do it like in a very bad way. It was a little stressful, but there we go. And as you do, I did go over it a couple times, and I thought, you guys didn't really need to see that. If you did, I'm so sorry. Yell at me in the comments, but I did go over it a couple times with a black pencil to make it dark. But now I'm going in with into the face with some pencil to get more shading. I will say the shading on this face, it's nothing to write home about. I, I like how it turned out in the end, but it's definitely, there was this point, probably here, where I was like, this is not turning out well. This doesn't look good. Oh no, what have I done? I should have left it at the watercolor. Have I mentioned it's a... Sorry, I'm being negative again. I also feel like I'm feeling really loud today. I'm sorry. It's a time. But here I am. Now this is the point where I'm like, you know what? That's not too bad. I do wish I only have cool grays in my Prismacolor markers. Not markers, these are pencils. And the original like watercolor base I did was more of a warm gray to go with the red and everything. But I only had cool, so at first I was like, oh no, this isn't gonna go well. But with like all the black and it didn't go too bad. I think it looks alright. And here's where I think I messed up. So for the hair, I wanted it stark white because it's a lamb, stark white fluffy fur, but hair. So I went over with some gouache. This is just I think this is the Arteza gouache set I got when the gouache like craze first started. Even I think when like Arteza first started like to really come out and people were like, "Ooh, try this new brand." So I did. So I got like one of their small gouache sets, and this is what I'm using. I'm not great with gouache. I will always say that. But I didn't want to use Posca marker because sometimes my Posca marker puddles. So I only kind of use it in my sketchbook, but I really didn't want to like press down and it accidentally just goes blip, burps. It's probably because like I've traveled on airplanes with those Posca markers, so they're not the best at like keeping. Oh, there's me getting gouache on the ear. But that's just me. That's not really a Posca marker. It could be a Posca marker thing. Maybe I'm just making excuses. Anyway, as you can see, instead of making it kind of fluffy with the lines, I was like, oh, I'll actually just do little bumps because it's like sheep's wool. Like in the game, it's all, fluffy and cloud-like. So I'm like, I'll do the hair like that. There's me going over the crown with some gouache some more just to make sure it's nice and dark. And then I do so many layers on this hair. I don't show them all again like I did with the pencil background, but because the problem was it would blend with some of the things, like it would blend it with the tears on that one side, so it got a little pink, and I had to wait for it to dry before I put more on, but sometimes I would add a little too much water to the gouache, and that would make it like reactivate underneath and make it kind of go clear again so you could see the background. That was definitely some issues I had, so I had to like wait for things to dry and then try it again. And as you can see, this gouache I got in tubes, and I put them in some paint pans myself like a couple years ago because I'm like, oh, it'd be easier to travel. And then I never touched them again because I was having so much trouble with the gouache. So I was just like, I'm just going to tuck this away. So they are very dry. I should re-up them if I want to try using them again. So don't mind the gross little case over there. But here, that one little corner was so rough for me. I will let you know. I kept reactivating it. And now here is even the worst part. I made their eyebrows little cute circle dots because I love circle eyebrows. I think they're so cute and stylized. I don't know why. Oh, and the little bell. I did really like doing that bell. But I think I just did them too chunky. I should have just done lines because I think they just really take away from the image. They're too cutesy, the eyebrows. And then here I was like, I want these things to stand out. So I do a little line. And I fix it later, but I definitely go a little too thick on the gouache on these lines, but I fix it and you'll see it. That's not too worrisome. It looks a little clunky now, but I get through it. Um, yep, here I do. Here what I do is I just take some pencil and I thin it out and give it a little more texture so it matches with kind of the rest of the piece because it was just feeling too stark and clean and bright and it was taking away from everything. So that's what I do. Also in the background, I did add some white over the white lines after I put in the black, so if you think those are a little brighter, that's it. Here's me struggling with the horns. Now coming up, I tried to do like some aesthetic ASMR tape peeling. Here we go. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then you see, I'm gonna talk over it because there's no ASMR here because it gets stuck because it is ripping the paper. Oh, I'm trying to get it on the other edge because I'm like, oh no, maybe if I try from this end, it won't rip. No, it ripped. I'm like, oh, okay. That's not great. Because you see, like, even the fibers come up, and I was like, oh. But let's keep persevering. This isn't sped up, by the way, because I just thought, oh, it'd be a fun little ASMR part. That one came off pretty good. That one was pretty fine. But then let's be quiet for this. No. It ripped so bad. Here's me crying about it. I did fix up some of the edges with the pencil, and it doesn't look too bad if you don't look too closely. I hope y'all like it a little more than I do. I did have fun making it, and thanks for watching, everybody.